games of that caliber and magnitude often. We saw it today. That's a really talented team. Their offensive capabilities and their athleticism defensively is really unique. Ours is obviously right there with it. Jamie Arnold took control of the game. I think the second inning, I believe he punched out the side. It seemed like he started to really feel the mound himself and start to take command of what he was doing out there. The at-bats throughout the course of the day. Savino's tough. Like it's a steady mixture of stuff. He pitches to contact. He pitches to both sides of the plate. He understands himself and what he's doing. So it's a tough situation offensively. And I thought as we got into it, we tidied up the at-bats. The bunt for Faroe is hidden in there. That might have happened before the seventh inning. But that piece of execution, Jordan Williams, the pinch hitting, not getting the bunt down, but delivering a base hit, really seemed to catapult our seventh inning into a huge moment for the program, quite frankly. And then you have to two-out hit. To score in bunches, you have to display all of the tools of a good offensive team, and that's what we did today. There were some massive two-out hits that drove in runs. There might have been 3 in a row in that seventh inning. It was just a special 45 minutes for the group to watch them rattle off the quality of that bat that they rattled off against a variety of different arms. Their staff is built on variety and deception and use of secondary pitches. And you saw it on display and you saw our guys respond. The bottom of the seventh inning, we actually had this lined up. Like Jamie got to a point where we thought that was enough. We had Dorsey ready to go and he didn't get it out. So the positive side of that is he's still fresh for the rest of this. The 0-2 changeup, that was the turning point in their seventh. Ox comes in. He gets 2 punch outs. I think when we got to the top of the lineup, he got 2 punch outs, and that seemed to settle a little bit. I think then a home run followed. But he started to settle and had enough stuff, enough life on the fastball, and enough bite on that slider that he carried us home. There were so many bright spots in this ball game for us. The country was waiting. You guys were waiting. Everybody was waiting to see, hey, how's this going to play out with these two? These two are fighting for this spot. The response and delivery of the product by these guys today was the exclamation point on how this looks and plays out. There's no question. Everybody was watching this. It was an 11 a.m. game. All of the TVs and all of the offices and the committees and all of those things were on this game. And I felt so good when we met this morning at 8:45 to talk about this game. You could tell their focus and poise walking into this. These fellows meant business today and they delivered the goods. You have to take advantage of these opportunities when the world is watching, and they delivered the result today.
Thanks, Coach. We'll now open it up for questions. If you have a question on Zoom, please use the hand raise function, but we'll open up questions here in house.
Link, I think this is the 4th straight game for you guys. You scored 10+ runs. Just when you're starting to click 1 through 9, everybody in the lineup this time of year, just how encouraging is that?
It's fantastic. It is a versatile, athletic, deep lineup. And it's hard to have 9 or 10 or 11 guys all on point with their pitch selection, decision-making, 2-strike hitting, situational hitting. It's tricky. But wow. We really did it top to bottom in the lineup. It was very impressive. As things heat up, the ball seems to carry a little bit. You see the quality of contact top to bottom pretty good in this event from our guys. The left, right, and the switch hitting aspect of what we do and how you can maneuver that in a lineup makes it difficult to execute pitches to, and it makes it difficult to match up out of the bullpen. Because behind this guy, you've got some very capable righties. So if you go to a left, it just changes the complexion of how you manage against a lineup like this. We built it to be that way, but ultimately the athletes have to go perform it. You're seeing them do it.
You guys have gotten now 11 hits from the bottom of your lineup out here in Charlotte. How does that create depth for the order, especially what you have from Tibbs in the middle of that order?
Well, it eats pitch counts, and those guys are really athletic, and it threatens, and there's no breathing room. And those guys may hit in the bottom of this lineup, but those guys are middle of the lineup hitters in a lot of good lineups. They really are. It just happens that some of the more experienced guys are up in the middle, and it is what it is, but I don't ever want people to think that because somebody's batting seventh, eighth, and ninth, that they're not really, really capable of handling what goes on at this level. They are, and they're learning, and they're going to continue to get better, but it's so deep that I think if you drew some things out of a hat, you might not notice huge differences in some cases of how the athletes perform.
Jamie, Virginia is statistically the top offense in the ACC, and you just completely shut them down. What was working today, and what can you use that, moving forward, especially, winning the save this week? So
So I only have two pitches and like in play most of the time. And today I used them both well. I think they were attacking the heater early on and I figured that out. So trying to move the slider around. And once I started doing that, I think it got them off time with the heater and kind of off time everything. And I think that was honestly the biggest thing today.
James, you've been so locked in this year and you've seen the ball great today. What's been some of the keys to staying so consistent the entire year?
Yeah, I think that starts with who you have in the lineup. I'm looking at eight hits from our 6, 7, 8. Having guys that are just continuously getting on base and giving us at the top of the lineup opportunities to hit with men on base is a seriously refreshing opportunity. I think all of us enjoy it, all of us love it, and especially with less than 2 outs, it goes without saying how much more fun that is with men on base. And so I think all of us were able to take care of that today, and I think we've done that all season long. It's been fun to watch.
So what you see in the home run, what was the approach there?
Honestly, I was sitting fastball, and I think I got a cutter. Just left it over the middle of the plate. Was able to put a good swing on it.
Jamie, the development of the slider to the back foot to the right-handed hitter is just, how big has that been this year for you, especially against lineups like UVA and GT? They're so right-handed heavy.
It's been huge. Once I started executing that pitch this year, it's been a game changer. My strikeouts have gone up, and honestly, I just like throwing that pitch a lot. I feel comfortable with it, and yeah, I love it. It's fun.
James, you've had the shift on you a lot this year, and when you ground the ball to the opposite field and it gets through, just how big of a relief was that for you?
Yeah, it's a big one. I'm the first one on board for banning the shift, and that was it's been frustrating. There's been times this year where it's just, man, I can't get a break. So I'm super thankful for that. Glad it worked out for sure.
Link, just what went into having Dorsey available today? And like you said, would you expect to have him fresh tomorrow, or would that more be a Sunday thing?
The magnitude of this game was real. Everybody here knew it. Everybody in college baseball is watching this. We wanted to do everything we could to walk out of here today 1-0. That's it. So if it took Dorsey, so be it. And then you turn your attention to tomorrow. So, I mean, he threw 17 pitches. He's going to be fine. Now, it's got to be better than those 17 pitches, but it's the first time out there for him in this setting, and the margin of error is 0. The ball flies, and you have to be on point with everything you do. So he learned, he can process this tonight, and he's going to be back out there at some point. So will Whittaker, and it's not going to be long where Leiter's in play to help with some of this stuff. So Dorsey's just going to have to learn. And we felt like with how often we've used Oxford and Holtz and those guys, maybe this was a breather for them. And we thought ideally he could finish that game. And you piggyback these two guys, right? We felt like that was okay. But these things don't always go as you would plan them. This is difficult. It's rarely perfect. So you have to adapt, and the other guys have to have enough poise to come in and snuff out some of these rallies and moments to give your team a chance to really push through.
With how big this game really was and everything you put into it, do you feel like you've done enough to get a top 8 national?
Absolutely. And people that schedule in the middle of the week, I would encourage anybody that has any questions about this to roll down there and sit through some of those Tuesdays that we have. 3 of them with the Gators and Stetson twice and Mercer and JU 3 times and Gulf Coast. It just keeps coming at you. There's no breathing room. It's not easy. And that taxes your team and your bullpen. Because when you come out of a series like this on Sunday and you look at what you're dealing with on Tuesday and there's 15,000 people waiting on you in these rivalry games, you have to deliver. And then you go right back into these environments of playing the Clemsons and the Virginias and the ACC teams. Like it's not easy. And to be in that conversation, you need to have done that from the start of the season to this point. And these guys have done that. And those games are challenging and difficult. And when you stack them with the demand to win in this league, few people can understand what that's like to have to manage those midweeks mixed with this. These guys have done more than enough.
Coach, how much do you think Carson's performance was a result of UVA just being really excited to face anybody but Jamie?
I mean, there's probably something to be said for that. They're good. And you see the margin of error is zero. They use the field, they have power, they can run. There's just no space to create easy outs. Maybe that was some of it. Dorsey's good enough to be better than he was. It doesn't matter who we're playing. He's better than that, and he will be better. So there was a little bit of truth to that. I think sometimes when an arm like Jamie comes out of the game, it's a little bit like a relief, and it almost gives them a little momentum. But Dorsey's better than he is, no doubt. But you're probably correct with your assessment.
And I noticed that Cam Leiter was on the pitch chart or something tonight next to you. Is that a job that you've given him to keep from getting too antsy, or?
Well, it's hard to keep that guy from getting too antsy. I mean, that joker's in the dugout, like ready to jump over the fence and run out there and get in the middle.
I saw him on, the Georgia Tech game. He was pacing back and forth, yeah.
Yeah, the feeling of being in the middle of that is what he wants. And we're getting back into that. Like he's getting on the mound this weekend and he's airing it out in preparation for what's coming. And he's not pitching this weekend, but next weekend, now we're talking this through a little bit, and he keeps sending me Mariano Rivera pictures and stuff like that on the phone. So there you go.
We'll take our last question from Zoom. Aslan, go ahead.
You kind of answered everything, Coach, but I'm not going to leave you hanging. With Cam right now, is it just finding the right moment to get him involved, or is it still physical things he needs to overcome here?
It's the physical stuff. He was shut down. March 28th was his last appearance. Is that correct? So we're May 28th-ish. We're close. So the buildup after you've been down is what we're managing right now. And the longer an arm is down, like the more delicate you have to be with the buildup. That's it. Like he's been doing just fine, and he'll get on the mound and he'll crank it up this weekend, and then we'll do that again in the middle of the week, and then off we go. You saw the same thing with Whittaker.
Thanks, Coach. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
That's good.